All right, we want to welcome everybody to our podcast called The Roundtable. This is episode number 3. To give you a little bit of a description about the Roundtable, so we're trying to take these ideas of what the Bible says or what Scripture says and figure out how to apply it in life. And so we're excited. We have Jenny with us today on the podcast. So we're going to be talking a little bit about her life and the way that God has done some really amazing things in her life, and talk about the amazing things that God has for her in her future. And just a little spoiler for everybody. And we learned today that Jenny's going to be our permanent partnership. Me and Jenny are going to be doing the podcast and bringing guests on. So really excited about that. So welcome, Jenny, to the Roundtable podcast. And so just to give our audience a little bit, tell us a little bit about you, and we'll go into some depth of what's going on in your life today. So tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, like you said, my name's Jenny, and I just got promoted to this job today, so I'm super excited. This has been like a lifelong dream of mine, and I'm ready.
And she's not kidding.
No, I'm really not.
When we were talking earlier, she's like, hey, because I was saying, hey, we need somebody to be a guest all the time because you can't always find a guest. And she's like, I really want to do this part of it.
Yeah, I definitely nominated myself, and I was super pumped about it. And I know I say that a lot, but I really am. I'm really excited. But I'm 29 years old. I had to think about that for a second. I don't know why.
Are you from Huntington?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were from Huntington or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I am.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your life right now. So you got some new things, right?
Yes.
So, a dog, and you just went through COVID. Are we allowed to say that on the radio that you just went through COVID? But
we're going to.
Here's the deal. She's still alive. I don't know how the rest of that works, but
I survived
You
COVID 2020.
made it. Yeah, and got through it. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about the process, and we got to know, like, not only for normal people when they're not home, but you've been home for 2 weeks. What were you watching? What's the Netflix binge or Amazon Prime, or what have you been watching on TV? So tell us a little bit about those things in your life.
Okay.
New dog?
So my dog, his name is Grayson. And I want to go into detail a little bit about how his name is. So it's not like the normal spelling. So it's grace, like God's grace, and then son. And I did that with intentionality. Like, did I say that word right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. After I said it, I'm like, oh, okay. But yes, I don't know. I'm a very intentional person. Like, I like to do things with purpose and meaning behind them. That's why I can never get tattoos, because I don't know what I want. I'm so indecisive. I have one, actually.
So if you ever did decide?
No, I did, actually. I got this in jail.
Okay, well, let me see it.
Okay. It's a heart. Can the camera see it?
How did you get a tattoo in jail?
That can't be told over the radio.
It's like a secret method?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you use that method outside of jail?
I've thought about it, in quarantine especially, because I was really bored. But I decided that wouldn't be best.
Okay.
It was probably a lot more sanitary doing it outside.
I was going to say in jail, I doubt. You're saying it was sanitary in jail?
No.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
No.
Okay.
But anyways, so his name, I don't know how I got it.
Intentionality. Yeah,
yes.
That's how. Because you're talking about tattoos and intentionality. And
Right. But this was intentional, really. It was supposed to be a semicolon, which, are you familiar with what a semicolon means?
Don't put me on the spot.
No.
I flunked English. Don't say that.
No,
I didn't really
not
flunk English. I made it by, but
no, it's way beyond.
Don't bring me back to high school.
No, this is not a pop quiz.
Because yes, it is.
No,
you just made this pop quiz.
No.
What's a semicolon? Can you explain a little bit in the English language what a semicolon?
Well, yeah.
does?
Can you tell me that?
No, I can't. I was just telling you. I'm embarrassed now.
A semicolon. You shouldn't be.
Oh, I
because
am.
a lot of people.
Okay. I don't mind.
Okay, good. Well, all right. So a semicolon is represented by, it's for suicide. So the author could have chose to end a story. Okay, I just said that wrong. The author chose not to. I'm really messing this up right now.
You can't mess it up. Listen, we're all on the same page.
You know me.
Keep going.
Okay. The author could have ended his story, so his life, essentially, but he chose to keep it going. So with a semicolon, that's what it is. It's like he could have ended the sentence, but he chose to keep it going.
Wow.
So I could have chose to end my life, which in my life, that's been a prominent thing.
Thought.
Yes, most definitely.
Right.
But that's what this heart was supposed to be, and then it ended up being a lima bean, and I just had to make it quick.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Just so I'm on the same page.
Right.
You started with the semicolon that ended up into a lima bean that now is in a heart.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Has a lot
that's
of
quite
meaning behind
That's
I
quite
know,
the transformation, of that. So why don't you get a big semicolon now that you don't have one?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean,
We should do that on camera.
What, you get a tattoo?
I'll teach you how to do it.
Here's the deal.
Yes.
I would get a tattoo.
Okay.
I'm scared of needles.
Well, it's not a needle. You know what we can use? What we use in jail?
What
a paper clip.
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Yeah,
that cannot be a lot better.
It wasn't that bad.
It has to be sharp. See,
Well, it was sharp.
No, I know. That's why I don't like needles.
Oh.
Yeah, the idea of like somebody jabbing you with a needle.
Well, I mean.
Bad idea.
Well,
like, I want to get a tattoo someday, but yeah, I'm a little bit of a chicken.
Yeah. Well, you can do it. I have faith in you.
So, Grayson.
Grayson.
How big is Grayson?
He is 21 pounds.
2 months old.
How old is he, or how much does he weigh?
Both.
I'm really stuck on how much he weighs right now because I like big dogs.
Yeah.
But he is 3 months old.
And he's 21 pounds.
Yes.
So he's going to weigh 150.
You know, on the growth chart that I did, it said he was going to weigh 138 pounds, which is not normal for Goldens, but he's half lab, so
okay. So
he's
you're gonna have the massive golden.
Yes, I think I have like
golden Labrador.
Something.
Do they have a special name for
Goldador?
Goldador.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that a real thing, or did they just mess up and have a lab breed a?
Well, mine was a mess up, but we still love him.
Is it a real idea? Like,
yes,
I mean,
I Googled it before I got him because I was nervous that he was what he was, and Goldador is a thing.
Okay. Awesome.
I know, you learn something new every day.
Tell us about COVID. How did you feel?
Okay.
You know, for those people that are out there, because again, I mean, a lot of people, I kind of made jest of it, but a lot of people fear that everybody's going to get COVID. And
yes.
You know, and I guess everybody's experience is different. So tell us a little bit about your experience.
So my experience with COVID, it definitely wasn't. I'm really glad I got it when I did, rather than like in the beginning, like April.
Right.
Because in that period of time, I was really freaked out about it.
Right.
Like I almost had panic attacks. Like I did. I think Rayanna had to like talk me down a couple of times.
Because you thought you might get it.
Yeah, I just felt that world was ending. Like I literally thought it was ending. But anyways, I'm glad I didn't get it then. It wasn't as bad as what everybody makes it out to be. But then again, I don't have immune problems.
Right.
You know,
Sure.
I'm pretty healthy.
Right.
For the most part.
But you did lose your sense of taste and smell,
Definitely.
which I think is interesting. Like that was one of
Yes.
the symptoms of to lose that. And it's coming.
Yeah.
It's back now, so you're good.
Slowly.
Okay.
So I was able to spray perfume yesterday because I was like, man, I don't know if I smell or not. Like my dog farted the other day, and my mom blamed me because I couldn't smell. I was just sitting there nonchalant, and dog farts.
Yeah, it was really the dog.
It was bad. Yeah, it was him. But I couldn't smell it at all.
Right.
Like it was the weirdest thing.
But you're back through feeling good.
Yes.
Yeah, things
Yeah.
are going well. Good. So tell us what you're binge watching. Are you binge watching anything on Netflix, or have you, or do you have a favorite?
Oh gosh, haven't I? I have an indentation in my bed from binge watching stuff. Like I literally I was contemplating this week to not watch any more TV because I've watched so much. But I'm on this binging this one right now, so I have to keep going.
What is it?
Hands of God.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And it's on Netflix?
It's on Amazon.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what's it about?
So who is it? This judge, he finds Jesus, and his son is in a coma, and he thinks that he's going to come alive, and he thinks he's talking to God, but he wasn't talking to God the whole time, and they're messed up Christians, and it's just a lot going on.
So you're kind of making me feel bad now, because I was
Why?
going to tell you what I was binge watching.
What
and
are you
so
wa-
you're like, I'm hoping that somebody would be like, oh, I'm binge watching. Like Rayanne, Game of Thrones, right? So
Oh, I started that. I
she
did.
was like,
yeah.
I think that's right. That you want, Game of Thrones. So then
Yes.
so the things I say, it's better than Game of Thrones.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm binge watching with my wife on Amazon Prime Yellowstone, which is about
Yellowstone?
Yeah, so it's about a family that lives out west. And what's cool about it is they're in some of the places, or talk about some of the places we just got back from. But essentially, it's about this family. Like if you cross them, they kill you. So you're binge watching something about Jesus, and I'm watching something about.
Well, they're killing people too.
In the name of Jesus?
I mean, Peter did, or Paul did. Just kidding. I
Wait a
know
second.
myself.
Wait, so meaning in the Netflix documentary,
Yes.
they're killing people.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a thing.
Well, do you have a favorite, something that you've watched
Over the last 2 weeks?
No, in the last year.
Ever?
Yeah. Like, what's your
Ooh.
favorite thing to watch, or favorite thing that you've ever binge watched?
So the favorite thing I think that I've ever binge watched. I have a really hard time with favorites because I love everything.
Okay.
Like I literally will tell you I love everything.
Okay.
I love everything on different levels.
Okay, so
But-
let's like go to the higher level.
Okay, so one of the best things I think I've watched, either The Walking Dead, because I got really into it and I cried when somebody died. So I'm very empathetic. So I put myself in their shoes.
For the zombies?
Yes.
You were empathetic for the zombies.
Oh, for sure. They were once human. Yes, we all. It doesn't matter. But another one that was really good was The Following, and it was they were in a cult.
Scary thing?
Yes.
You
I like
scary
murder
movies?
stuff. Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, like I'm a chicken.
Yeah,
I
no.
can't watch scary movies.
Really?
No.
I
In
love
fact,
that.
when the kids moved in with us, when the Clark kids moved in, like their
Yeah.
favorite show was The Walking Dead. So I walked in one time and they're watching it. I'm like, what is going on?
That isn't even scary. That
What?
isn't scary at all.
Okay, these people walking around that like the only way to kill them is chop them into pieces.
Yeah.
Like that's not scary.
You're supposed to hit their head.
That's
kill
the way
them
to
in
do
the
it.
head. Yes.
Did you chop their head off or you just smash their head?
I mean,
in?
either way. You just got to put a knife through their skull. That's how
And
you
that
kill them.
does away with them.
Yeah, they go
Okay.
down real quick.
Okay. All right. So, Jenny, let's talk a little bit about. We were talking earlier before the podcast. You know, you've had quite the journey in your life, and quite the turnaround. You know,
Yeah.
and so one of the things that we want to talk about, you know, on this podcast is, and remind people that God is living. God does miracles, changes the lives of people, and your story, which is really exciting, is an example of just the amazing things that God can do, you know, and how He can transform lives. So, can you tell me a little bit about your journey? You know, a little bit about where your past, you know, where you were at in your past, and then we'll talk a little bit about what God's doing with you now.
Okay. So I'm going to bump back, though, to Grayson, because it kind of has a little bit to do with where I've been from. So his name, I wanted Grace to be in there because this time go around, because I'm a recovering addict. So this time I started my journey of recovery at a place in Indy Teen Challenge. It was called the Grace House. And then I left and went to the Dream Center, and then I ended at the Place of Grace. And I wanted my dog's name to be a representation of not only the places that I've been, but God's grace, because I wouldn't have been able to have him in my old life because I could barely even take care of myself.
Right.
So just the restoring power of having him and just never thinking that it was possible, even if it's as small as having a dog.
Right.
But yeah, so that's where his name comes from. But like I said, I am a recovering addict. I've been clean on December 1st of this year. It'll be 2 years.
Yeah. So if we
So-
had sound effects, this is
Yeah.
where we push the sound effects.
For
That's our
clapping?
next thing, producers. We need the sound effects so that when we say these things, it'll be like, woo, and everybody
That sounds great.
Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
starts clapping.
I would have danced too.
Yeah,
We need
see-
music.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Listen, now that we got a partnership.
Oh my gosh.
And we have producers, this is limitless.
You know what we need to do?
What's
we
that?
need our own theme song for when we start.
Okay.
Because that's what I had when I was the weather girl on TV.
You had your own theme song?
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was?
What's the weather? It's sunny. What's the weather? And then I had my face on it. Taylor would remember. Taylor
What?
was in
So you're talking
TV
about
class
back in
with
high
me?
school when you were doing
Yes,
with Altman?
yes.
Altman gave you your own song?
Almond.
Altman, wasn't that the teacher?
No, it was starts with the B.
Wow, I thought Altman's been the TV teacher forever.
No.
No.
Baltzell.
Okay, and he gave you your theme song.
I give
Can you?
myself my theme
Well, can
song.
you do it one more time?
What's the weather? It's sunny. What's the
gotta
weather?
get in
And
the
then
rhythm.
imagine a bobblehead. That's what it was. Yeah.
Did you really have a green screen and you did the weather?
No.
and-
Well, sometimes. Usually I would use props. So one time I did it in a tree.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were actually in a tree, or the
Literally.
green screen
I
was in a
climbed.
tree?
No, I climbed up in a tree. I was really dedicated to my clients. Or not clients, what are they? That was until later on in my life.
Yeah, I
No, I'm
was
just
gonna say
kidding.
that's in the future. But I mean, you're really dedicated to all of your.
That was not during that time. Anyways.
That's awesome. But just
Is
remember
this rated R?
to our producers and to all of our fans, right? 'Cause
Right.
we're gonna have fans.
Yes, for
people,
sure.
That's what I'm saying. The people
For
are gonna be
sure.
fans
For
of
sure.
the podcast.
Yes.
Our producers are now going to get us theme music and
T-shirts.
little clapping hands.
Yeah, we need our
and-
own mugs.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, water.
Yeah.
Where is it at?
We'll have headsets.
Yes.
And, we'll look professional.
Yes.
Wow.
That's all
Wow.
I've wanted in life. Now I finally have it.
So,
Yes.
again, with your recovering addict, a little bit. So you went to Indy, that's where you got into started to dabble in the drugs or started to dabble in those things. And so how did you end up, I don't know if we talked about this, how did you end up in Teen Challenge?
So I ended up in Teen Challenge almost 2 years ago because of my parents. My mom found it.
Okay.
That's really my story throughout a lot of my using was my parents choosing where I was going or telling me where to go or the courts.
Okay.
So that's why Place of Grace was so important for me in my recovery because that was the first time I had ever chose a program because especially that was very important to me. I think that's where I really knew I wanted things to change because I was coming from the Dream Center, and the Dream Center at the time, my mom was the executive director.
Okay.
So I was in this very hard situation of not wanting to leave to make her look bad. So I stayed for 10 and a half months of complete hell. Can I say that?
Yeah.
And
our producers, are we allowed to say hell on the podcast?
woo,
They
yes.
gave us a thumbs up.
Not like I cuss. I really don't cuss. Like I used to be a
Hell's
failure.
not cussing?
Hell?
Yeah.
Somebody
Does that
told
not
me
count?
no. My mom says it, and it's really weird, and she doesn't cuss at all.
No, I'm saying, so hell does not count as a cuss
No.
word? Okay.
Because
Sounds
it's a
good to me.
place that I was at.
You guys, you can vote on that. Like if you're a podcast
Oh, we
listener.
should have votes.
Yeah, I know. That's
call
what I'm saying.
in
Yeah,
to
you could call into the show.
1-800. Yes.
Yeah, right. Can you vote and let us know if hell is really considered a cuss word?
Because if so, my bad. But if not, then hell.
Here's a
kidding.
question. Like
Yes.
I always think this is interesting. So go from the parent side of it, who are struggling with, because this is a real deal.
Yeah.
With a lot of parents looking at their kids and they know they're struggling.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yep.
we're not really sure what the answers are, and we don't know what to do. You said part of your parents' reaction to this was intervention, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so maybe from your end of it, how can a parent help rescue if they can? Like, I don't know, if that's possible. What can parents do to kids or with kids that are struggling right now, regardless of what the addiction is? Because it's not just drugs. I mean,
No.
parents are struggling with or kids struggling with all kinds of different addictions. How can parents be a help without driving? Because I think most parents are worried about driving their kids away.
Yeah.
You know
and
what I mean?
enabling them.
Yeah, like if I do too much, they'll never come back.
Yeah.
But if I let them do too much, then they'll think it's okay. So what would be your advice maybe to parents as being a daughter of parents who had a part, I would assume by what you're saying, had a part in helping getting you on at least the right path. I think you would probably say for most people, you got to make that decision on your own.
For sure,
But I
yeah.
would assume that the people helping you
Yes.
in that process. And so
Yeah.
what can people do? What did people do for you that got you to the place to get, help that?
So for me, I've had both sides of it. So it went to a point where my parents were completely controlling, and that's not the way to go about it. I think that's not good for anybody.
Sure.
And then I've had them let go and be in it. So I've been on this journey. I've been using, and I've been really long term has been 12 years on and off. But I would say to never give up. My parents, I'm very, very grateful that I have strong parents that believe in God and have strong faith, because without that, I know that I couldn't even imagine. My mom always relied on God, and she knew that the promises of God and I wouldn't die, and was just hopeful for that. And I couldn't imagine not having anything else to hold on to when your life's in shambles like that. Well, actually, I can't imagine, because that's how I was. But as a parent's standpoint,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like as a parent, I mean,
Yeah.
one of the greatest fears of every parent is watching their kids suffer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think of my own children, and the thought of, that something would hurt them, is devastating. And then add to it that they're hurting themselves.
Yeah,
and
you can't help.
And add to it that they're pushing you away.
Yeah.
So just like you said, you got to almost get to the place, not almost, you got to get to the place where you're trusting God to do the things you can't.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yep.
when it comes to the intervention piece,
Yeah.
Never give up, not only in pursuing your children, but never give up on the God who says, have faith in me.
Right.
Because I'm working on your behalf.
Right. So, right, just like you said, never give up on everything.
Right.
So, but for that child, like, when I think about my parents and everything they've done, like in the moment, it was very annoying and
Yeah.
I hated them.
Sure.
And I probably called them some cuss names because I used to cuss a
Yeah,
lot.
right.
And, but now that I think back on it, like those are the things that saved my life. Just like when somebody goes to jail, like they're obviously super mad about going to jail, and I was too, but every time I went to jail, I can see why, like, God put me in jail. Like, I knew I needed to be there or else something bad would have happened. Like, he was saving me from something.
Right.
Just like when you're out of a situation, you can't really, or when you're in a situation, you can't see
Right.
what's going on around you until you're out, just like that. But
Right.
never giving up and being there for them, but not being there too much. I don't know. It's a fine line. And
Sure.
I think I don't know. It just depends on the person.
Yeah, I think though, I mean,
Love.
what you said, I think what you said is vitally important though. There's no like magic
No.
that says do this formula and everything is right. I think
Right.
when you said don't give up, and that can mean so many different things in the life of people based upon their situation. But I
yeah.
think especially for those of faith, saying, listen, we believe in a God who rose people from the dead. We believe in a God that gave people who could not hear hearing, people who could not speak, the ability to be able to speak. And so we can't all of a sudden say, well, we believe in a God that can't rescue my child from addiction.
Right.
Or I can't rescue them from the thoughts. And I always wonder, if sometimes because we want to control a situation, we get in the way of God. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
for sure.
We're stepping in where he needs to step
Yeah.
in. Like he's saying, let me do some work. Let me have him for a second. I know
Yeah.
you want to get it all done and you want to fix all the problems,
Yeah.
but I think there's a time where we as parents and as believers have to say, we got to give this over to God because he's the only one.
Right, because sometimes rock bottom is the only place you can find God at.
Right.
So, and if you are a parent and you're controlling the situation, but you're controlling them out of love or what you think is love and trying to protect them, you might be hurting them even more.
Right.
Like that's whenever I've hit rock bottom and I've been at my low, that's the places where I find God the most.
Right.
Like when I think back on every time I went to jail, every time like I've been in a really bad spot, I've always sought out to God. Like
Right.
I've always, so definitely that was super important what you
Yeah,
said.
so talk about some of the trains. So again, got you involved, got you some help.
Yep.
And again, maybe speak to the people that are going through that transitional phase right now. Because I also think that that transitional phase is really important. Because I'm just assuming, you go through I'm getting clean and there's all the stuff to getting clean,
Yeah.
everything that goes
Oh,
with
yeah.
that. And then there's like reintroduction into normal life. There's like how to try to function again when, you haven't usually in an addiction situation, most people haven't been functioning in normal life,
Right.
For a while. So how do you get back into those phases? And then how do you close the door, to your past? Like, what does that look like to close the door to the things that have happened in the past? So talk a little bit about the transitional phase in a person's life.
Okay.
Was it difficult? Was it hard to make it through there? Did you have good resources?
Well, so my transitional period, I was always in a home.
Okay.
So I would be normal per se out in like during the day, so working. So I worked here.
Okay.
And then I would always be going back home with like safety and security and accountability. So I think that helped me a lot too, because even though I was getting a taste of the world, like I was still being like held accountable and I wasn't forgetting like what I was really doing. And that was, finding out the things that did hurt me and like the things that led me into using drugs. Cause it's never just, you're just choosing to use drugs or
Right.
watch porn or gamble
Sure.
or just anything that you can avoid your problems to. There's always a reason and a specific reason. And until you get down and find those, that's where you do some deep like inner self work.
Right.
And that's hard. I like to run away from my problems and
Right.
I like to be happy all the time and I like to joke, as you
Right.
can tell.
Right.
But so that was like a really huge step. And the second question that you asked was the past. I had to completely work on those things. And I'm not going to lie, like I'm still working on those things. There are still a lot of my deeper hurts to the reasons why I turned to things, especially in the beginning, I'm still working on.
Right.
But I think it's because like once you start to cover it up, like you just keep covering it up and then stuff just
Right.
keeps adding.
Yeah. So while we're talking about you being happy and jokes,
Yeah.
so you got to tell the story, right? That you told me before the podcast
Yeah.
of like how this situation that you
Yeah.
had down in Indianapolis and kind of the correlation of what you were doing and how it kind of correlates into where you're at today. So tell our audience your
I would love to, because this is I love telling this story. Okay, so don't judge, but a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do, you know? And it was also on my bucket list. I had a bucket list
what,
at
to
this
stand
time.
on the street corner?
Yes. I don't know. I would hold a sign. I mean, I should have just go work at the Cash for Gold sign.
No, like seriously, like you had on your bucket list to stand on the street corner and ask for money.
Yeah. Like with the sign.
No, I know, but that's just a funny.
You don't want to do it? We should do it. We should do it.
Okay, can there be something else like we asked for? Like
I had a lot of crazy things on there.
Okay.
We can ask for prayer requests.
I mean, wasn't that the
Let's
deal?
stand
you
on
were
the corner.
Were you were asking for money?
For sure, yeah. Jokes
Yeah.
for $1.
Jokes for $1.
So my sign, imagine I'm holding a cardboard
Yeah,
sign.
this is her imaginary sign. So
And-
you guys that are on our, you
Yeah.
know, listening, Debbie is now. Yeah, so we're
I'm
gonna have
hol-
listening
I
and
forgot.
watching. No, we have
I
both.
forgot.
So that's why the video.
Well,
so
I knew
people-
that.
Yeah, but we have people that are just going to be listening. She's
I'm
holding
sorry.
up her imaginary. She
got
is reliving the street corner in Indianapolis
Okay.
right now.
So I'm not looking as bad as I was then. So, anyways, but the better you dress, the more money you got.
Really?
Yeah, irony.
Like, did you do this more than once?
For sure. Yeah, I did it a lot actually.
And she learned as you went.
Yeah, I
So you did-
averaged $30 within 30 minutes. Swear.
No.
I swear. People loved my joke. Okay, my one joke, anyways.
Okay, wait a second. Was it the same joke every week?
Yes. All
On
the
the
time.
same street corner.
For sure, yeah. Well, yes, because it was on 71st in Michigan in Indy, and it was a very popular corner. Like a couple times I saw people that I knew, and they wouldn't wave to me because they were either with their mom or they're embarrassed. But I was like, you didn't see me the other day? They're like, I did, Jenny.
Like, there's my friend. Do you see her?
I was
She's
offended.
The one I was hanging
Yes.
out with the other night. You
Yes.
see her? She's right over there
Right.
with the sign. You want to go meet her?
I would have. I would have. And then one time, a homeless man fought me off of his corner because it was his
You're fighting
corner.
for the same corner.
Well, yeah. Well, he
Okay.
was.
Okay. Well, the guy was homeless.
Right.
Okay. Did you fight him really?
No, not really. We were just.
gave-
I'm not a fighter.
Okay. Did you give him the corner?
Verbal.
Did you give him the corner?
I did. I did. I'm a really nice
That's a
person.
good deed. I mean, seriously.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
See, I was doing good deeds back then.
No, I know. My point was, is so
Oh.
like, you know, you probably didn't need the money as much as him.
No.
The guy was homeless.
I know. Why are you making me feel bad?
I'm not making you.
I've
I'm not
already
making you
repented
feel
of
bad.
this. And
No, I wasn't making you feel bad. I was just like, that's kind of
okay,
funny.
but
You're
he
fighting with
fought
a
me. He
homeless
was
guy.
being rude to me.
Okay.
First, and I'm a woman.
Yeah, no,
on this corner.
No, I'm with you.
You
Okay,
know?
I got you off subject. You need to tell us what you're doing on the corner.
So I was holding a sign, jokes for $1. And I had one joke, like I said, and it was, why couldn't the skeleton cross the road?
Now, see, here it is, music.
Woo, I wish.
Right?
We'll get
'cause
there.
and our producers would be
Yeah.
like, and then now
Yeah.
the punchline for the
Yes.
joke is? Yeah.
Because he didn't have the guts to do it, I almost forgot what it was. We got to talking, I got really excited.
Now, producer, everybody laughs.
Yes. Woo! That was hilarious. Here's $1.
Yeah, right.
We should have made it rain with
Yeah,
dollar
right.
bills.
Yeah, ching, ching, ching,
I
ching,
would've
ching,
felt right
yeah,
at home.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So
now, how does that joke story fit into where you're at today? Because I did think it was interesting how you took that analogy and used it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of, I feel like it's ironic and a lot of symbolism within it. Oh, I can't talk.
No, you're good.
But so put me in the spot of the skeleton and then put recovery in the spot of the road. And then the guts is God. So I couldn't get through or to recovery without God.
Yeah, couldn't get to the other side of the road.
Right.
You know, because without God.
Right, and at the same time that I realized this, I was reading a book at Teen Challenge, and it was about the man who created Teen Challenge, and he was talking about, like, you can't get through recovery without the Holy Spirit, and I think that's why it, like, made sense to me in my mind.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was just that had a lot to do with how I found God again within that time.
Yeah, so let's talk about this because I think it's a principle that I think we all need to learn from, right? And the principle is that we all have a past,
For sure,
right?
yeah.
Like everybody doesn't, sometimes people are like, well, your past is and this is the funny thing when they say this, well, your story is way better than mine. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Meaning that, like, the worse your life was, the better your story is?
Yes.
Because the story is this, you know what I'm saying?
No,
Like, the story
I used to
is
be
this-
that person.
Yeah, the story is, listen, we all have a past.
Right.
And in the eyes of God, it's all the same, right? It's all the same. And
Yeah.
so what he asks us to do, and this comes from the moment of salvation, is forget the past.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the whole idea of salvation. The whole idea of salvation is you can forget your past because I've covered it.
Yeah.
You know, you can forget your past because I'm in it. You can forget your past because I died for those things. And so he tells us the way to move on from our past, right, is shut the door.
Yeah.
Like, you can't keep looking back. Like, I think a lot of people would be like, I got to look back and I got to, see, and I keep thinking every aspect of my life today is based upon because of what my past was. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I don't mean that bad, but sometimes used as a crutch, like what my past was and my parents were and my situation was, and this happened. And so because of that, I can't be what God wants me to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They use
Oh,
that. And so
yes.
I think the principle that God tells us is close the door.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm God, so close the door. But here's the other part of the principle. You can't just close the door and stay there.
Right.
When you close the door, he ushers you into the thing that he wants for your life, which I think is what's amazing about your story. So not only is it amazing you've overcome and seen great change in your life, you have now said, I'm not going to just stand at the edge of the door and wait for something to happen. You're going to be ushered into the destiny in which God has made you for. So we all know that, right? That God's made us all for something. He has a destiny for each one of us. He's created each one of us for change. Sometimes we mess it up and get off the road and get out of the way. And, and so he gets us back. He says, close the door now. Let me see. Let me help you see who I created you to be, right? And I think that's some of the beauty of your story is like when we talk about where God's ushering you into.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because, Jenny's the manager here at the Cafe of Hope. And, the Cafe of Hope here at Life Church is a business for mission,
Right.
Great coffee shop, great opportunity for people to be able to come in. And Jenny's now taking that over. And when I was talking to her about like, hey, is this something you want to do? Managing the coffee shop is one thing. Managing opportunities for life change is another. And that's what I think was so cool about your story. Whenever I was talking to you, like I want to manage the best coffee shop and have the best coffee and best environment and best food. But ultimately, I want to see life change. So can you talk a little bit about how God is ushering you into that destiny and working you through, not just standing at the door, but moving you forward?
Yeah. So it's pretty funny, the story of how that came about of me being the manager, because I was on a 8-week leave from my hip injury, and I was looking, actually at the time, I was looking for a different job in Indy. I was planning on moving back down there.
And just so you got your hip injury, to all of you guys like me, from
Running.
Running.
Woo, yeah.
Running. So anybody that promotes running, here's an example.
Right.
You probably shouldn't run.
No.
What?
You shouldn't have addiction problems. I just went way too hard. I didn't know when to stop. I was running every day.
That's been my problem in running.
I know.
It's
really hard to stop.
I did. Yeah, I went too much. So now I just don't.
No.
I just don't do it at all.
You can get walking.
Huh?
You can do the turkey trot with us. Yeah, it's only 3 miles.
I think people walk through that. Or,
You can.
Or people run through that. So what does it look like to be the walker?
I mean, we don't judge.
That's not true.
No judge. No.
That's not true.
You're just going to take an hour and a half.
Are you telling me there are people who aren't
Do you want to
standing
get to Thanksgiving?
Listen,
Do you want to
telling
make it to eat some turkey? Then you're going to run. Okay.
telling you, there's people standing on the sidelines
Yeah, they're still cheering.
Wow, there's the walkers coming up at the end.
Look how fast they're walking.
Look how fast they're going.
Hey.
Everybody else is like, I finished it in 5:35, and I come in 25 minutes later.
It's okay.
No judging at
No.
all in the midst of that. Anyway.
You're participating. You get a participation award.
Yeah.
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 A for
thanks.
effort.
Yeah. So anyway, I
Yeah.
interrupted your story, but
It's okay.
Hip injury,
Yes.
during your hip injury.
Yep. So I was looking for different jobs, and because I really wanted to move, and because my parents are eventually moving, so I was like, I might as well too. And I like big cities, so I was like, okay.
Huntington's not a big city.
It isn't?
I don't know. Is it?
Wait, you think it is?
Well,
For real?
I moved here from Adams County, where my graduating class was
I've been to jail there.
90.
was like the Andy Griffith show. Well, that's a long story.
Do we have that theme music? Like
I wish.
No,
My dog
seriously.
used to bark to that. Yeah, because my dad watched it all the time.
So my graduating class was 96 people.
I believe it going to that jail. It was awful.
So when we came to Huntington, we're like, holy cow, big city.
Yeah, so no.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Anyway.
But I'm glad you
So you want to
that.
live in a big city.
For sure.
Okay.
Eventually, I would like to move to like New York or Chicago and like live in the heart of the city. So I'm walking everywhere.
Have you been there before?
Yes.
You've
Chicago?
have you been to New York?
No, but I would like to. I'd like to live in the Bronx, you know? Jenny from the Bronx. I'd fit
like
right
when
in.
you're in New York and you're watching people?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Just saying, I don't know if any of you guys are from New York or have ever sat on the benches and watched people walk through New York. But
I can't wait.
I couldn't wait to live there.
Yeah.
That's where you hit the laughing
You
thing.
really need God there. You really do. Like, I'll be asking him every day to be with me on the streets.
Yeah, maybe.
No, for sure.
Or to get you out of there.
That
You know
probably-
that's a
who
new thing,
knows?
right?
What?
You know that's a new thing? So
What?
people moving out of the city. So now that COVID hit and people can work from anywhere.
Yeah.
So people that were living in the city. So now I get this thing since we're out in Montana. So I get this newsletter or whatever.
Yeah.
Montana house prices have went up like 20 to 30%.
Oh my
Because of
gosh.
all the people moving out of the city
That makes
to go
sense.
out there because now they can work from wherever.
Yeah.
So just a little FYI, like people that have been at the city have
They're
found out
leaving.
it's like not so good.
Because the people aren't there anymore. That's what makes the city, or the people.
Okay.
Anyways, so I was looking and looking for a different job, and I was talking to Ray, and she's like, "You need to go tell Courtney." And I was like, "Gosh, dang it, whatever." So I went and talked to her, and she was like, "Well, actually, I have something to talk to you about." And this was even before. Wait, no, I had said what I had to say, and that's when she came up and said that she was thinking about leaving and what would it look like for me to take over. And I was like, gosh, dang it. I was mad at first. I'm not going to lie. Because I had my hopes. Whenever I have, like, something in my mind, like, set, that's it. That's, like, I have
No
my
one's
mind.
going to change your mind.
Right. But I knew it was God. Like, this was God given. Like, just the way it laid out, I knew it was God's will. And I'm really trying to be in his will. And I'm trying to listen and do things what he wants to do. Because I've always done what Jenny wants to do. And that ended up me in Adams County Jail. So
In the Andy Griffith jail.
yes,
Yeah,
it
so
was,
if you podcast listeners from Adams County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that you could put pennies in your mouth to make a breathalyzer test effective? An old lady came in, she did that, and she had like 20 pennies in her mouth.
You know what's funny
What?
is so whenever we took the Clark kids in, so Josh, when they would have to swab them, so they swab the back of their throat to see. So he's like, I figured that out a long time ago. You
Mouthwash?
you gargle bleach.
Really?
And I'm like, you really gargled bleach? Oh yeah. I always gargle bleach. Doesn't seem to have an effect at all on your vocal cords or anything.
Wow. Did it pass?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, you'll do anything.
That was the point. So
Yeah.
he was telling me some of these other stories
Yeah.
of how he's beat all of these tests with different things.
It's
Because
possible.
CPS had been called on him like 50 times, and so they had always
gosh.
figured out ways to get through it. And so gargling bleach was one of the ways to pass a test.
Good
and
to
so
know.
now, anybody trying to pass a breathalyzer, Jenny just gave you an
You
idea
pennies.
on how to do it.
Well, this
You
old
put
lady
pennies in your
failed.
mouth. Do
No,
what? It was
she
an
had-
old lady? What?
No, she had like 20 pennies in her mouth, and they're like, okay, like they
An
kept,
old lady.
Yes.
Okay.
So
She must have been from Decatur, not Monroe. It had to be.
Oh,
so
for
only
sure.
Those, Monroe doesn't have those kinds of people.
I don't even know the difference, but it sounds like Decatur from what I've seen.
Okay.
But yes. So,
Okay. So we're back to the story.
we are.
Okay.
I don't know if I am. Where?
So in the story,
Yes.
it was now you've decided that
Yes.
I should probably listen to God because I've listened to myself too much.
Right.
And you ended up in Andy Griffith's jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
So in the story, so now you're at this place where you're making a decision to take over. So there's a lot, like in the transitional part, there's a lot to figure out how to work at the cafe. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of stuff going on there already. But in that, I think this is the cool part. It wasn't just about how do I work at the cafe or manage the cafe. It is like, how's God going to use me?
Right.
Because remember, the Cafe of Hope specifically named that, right? It's not just a random name that we came up with when we first started this. The
Yeah.
Cafe of Hope is to provide opportunities for hope. And again, if you look at our logo or understand that to leave an impression on people's life. There's a
it's
little
super
coffee
cool.
stain on there.
I don't think think people know that either.
Yeah.
I think that would be good to tell.
Yeah. So, I mean, on the logo, there's a little, ring that is a coffee stain. And the whole idea when we did it, we said we believe that if you come to the Cafe of Hope, and we believe in the way that God works through the Holy Spirit, that you will leave with the imprint or a imprint. And whether it's through the servant, the people that are serving you, whether it's from the environment you're in, whatever. But we believe that if we provide opportunities for hope, that you will find. Because what was interesting, we did a demographic survey before we ever came here, and it listed what are the greatest needs in a community.
Yeah.
So we were looking at planting in 5 different places.
Oh, wow.
The top thing for Huntington, Indiana, essentially was that they had lost hope. That people in the community had lost hope. So that's what prompted us to say that we need to provide environments for hope. And so we got the name Cafe of Hope.
That's cool.
So you're not only taking over a coffee shop
Yeah.
that has food and rooms and reservations and everything with it, but it's also you're trying to create environments that help people find a place of hope. And so share a little bit about how God's working with you through that.
So, yeah, that was interesting because my passion in life is to help women, or not necessarily women, I say women, but like women specifically, like with trauma, only because that's been my experience. But addicts, just anyone that's lost hope in life, and really to lead people and just be an example, and exactly what you said, to like leave an imprint on their life. So that's kind of like with the cafe. And that's why I believed it was a God thing, because a lot of our employees are younger and some of them don't go to church. And I just really want to be that good example. And I want to lead them up and try to lead them up so that they can leave. And when they leave, they'll be a good worker elsewhere, just a good person overall. Not that they aren't, because they are.
And lots of dreams about like what we could do with the Cafe of Hope in partnership with, different organizations, or even, maybe a little bit of this. You want to be a professional speaker, right? Like, so maybe this is our start into it. So before she became famous, just so everybody knows,
here.
Before she became famous, this was the first
I had COVID
place.
and I'm about to cough. But I swear I'm the state says I'm good.
Yeah. So now again, so wanting to move into that, allowing for opportunities to speak to other people. And so great opportunities to be able to build that possibly through the cafe, and now through the podcast, getting your platform out there. So we're going to kind of close it up. So tell us a little bit about the cafe. So you're leading it. What are the hours? What can people expect when they come in? What are some other things other than, I know that there's rooms to be able to reserve. And so talk a little bit about there's stuff to buy. We, partner with, other people. And so tell us a little bit about what's going on at the cafe that people can be excited about.
Okay. So one of the things I think a lot of people don't know is creative abilities. And I wasn't very familiar with that either. And it's a really good program, and it's touched my heart a lot. So creative abilities, we have people that come in and they are working through the day, because it's a day program, and they're
through Pathfinder Services.
Yes, through Pathfinders. So these clients are making stuff and they're selling them, so the money goes back to them. And they work here in the building, so I get to see them every day and have a relationship with them. And
so if you haven't got your Christmas gift,
this
is a place to shop. Listen, don't go to Walmart.
No.
Don't go to Walmart. Anybody hear me? Don't go to Walmart. Go to the Cafe of Hope. They have stuff made by real people, you know, and making a real difference in life. Shop with purpose. Okay, shop with purpose.
Right, and the other purpose is our Freedom Store products. So those are, it's people that are not, they're overseas, I believe.
Yeah, so they're rescued. Some of them rescued from sex slavery, and so then they're given opportunities to make things. And so whatever's sold, money goes back to them for two reasons. One, to keep it going, and the other is to help continue rescue women. In those situations.
Which is kind of like what you said today.
Yeah, so again, shop with purpose. Why would anybody go anywhere else? You can buy a cup of coffee on purpose, because remember, Cafe of Hope gives back profits into the community. You can shop with purpose to be able to give back to things that matter. We need to we need to be a culture that does things on purpose, not on what's cheap. Right?
Definitely.
Cheap has not got us where we wanted to be. Do it on purpose.
No, it has not.
Yeah, and get it done. Yeah. What else going on at the cafe?
So, Christmas time's coming up, and we are doing the same gift card special that we did last year. And
Do you know what it is?
I'm really wish you wouldn't have asked me that because
That's okay.
it was a really good one, though.
Yeah, listen, if you come down and get a cup of coffee, you'll know what the gift card special is going to be. So you come down. Either way, it's a great way to be able to give.
Yeah.
Great way to give on purpose. And then it obviously continues giving, right? That's what the gift card is. Like you keep coming back. And,
exactly. The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, that's right. And then they keep coming back and be able to buy on purpose.
And you get to talk to me.
Yeah, right.
I'll make you laugh.
See Jenny and all of her great employees, and great environment.
Yes,
so talk a little bit about the environment difference, because we always say, listen, we're not competing. People always ask us, oh my gosh, Starbucks came in, what are you going to do? Well, we're not Starbucks, right? We never wanted to be Starbucks. We never wanted to create an environment like Starbucks. Our environment is significantly different. So talk a little bit about that.
So with our environment, it's much different than other places because we have a big space too, and that helps. And I feel like it's just a lot more comfortable for people. I mean, a lot of people, when they come in, they don't know it's a church. So I think that's very awesome on our part to bring somebody into something that they don't know and then see Jesus and, make them, oh, this is a church.
Right. Well, and again, it's destination, right? The difference between us and other coffee spots is like, this is a destination. It's a place for you to come and have a meeting. It's a place for you to come and have a birthday party. It's a place, like, it was amazing to me, we had Ryan's birthday party, over the weekend here on Sunday, and how many other families are coming in and using the facility. Because we said, listen, one of the craziest things about churches is churches get big buildings that nobody ever uses. Like Wednesday night and Sunday. So we said, when we get a building like this building, 60,000 square feet, total. So I'm like, we're going to use it all week long for the community. And how cool is it that the Cafe of Hope gets to be a part of that and allow people to come in and have birthday parties and celebrate with their family in places that they just couldn't do it anywhere else. So,
and we're booked up a lot of the times.
Right. So if people want to get, a reservation, how do they do it?
So they can email me, and I'm jenny@lifehuntington.com, or you go online and it'll connect you through Facebook or our website. I think it takes you to be able to
so
email.
If you click on the website, there's a drop down that has the Cafe of Hope on it, and if you go on there, there's an opportunity for you to link up from there. So, or call. Like,
yeah. I forgot about the phone. Yeah. You can call us too. I promise we'll answer. Now, if it was my regular phone, I probably wouldn't. Yeah, right. I'm really bad with my phone.
Yeah.
I don't
355-0055. Yeah. Yep. Extension Jenny.
I wish. That would be so cool.
Extension the Cafe. Of Hope.
I think it's
so they could call and do that.
Yeah.
Again, if you ever haven't had lunch at the cafe, soup is back.
Soup is back.
Soup is
and
back. It's really
next
good.
month's specials, because I create the specials every month. I've continued to do that throughout.
Do you name them?
I do.
Wow.
And I like to name them like creative, funny things.
Okay. So what's the creative, funny special?
Listen, I would tell you.
But you can't.
If I had it.
Right.
But I haven't been able to smell or taste. So, and then.
It's hard to create the special
well,
right now.
Yeah, I'm counting on everybody
testing.
else. Yes. Yeah. And I've been gone for so long. Like, I was supposed to have this done 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So November is going to be a little bit interesting. Yeah. So bear with me. Just know that I had COVID and just feel bad for me, please, because nobody does. But yes, I feel like it's awesome that the community comes in and we're always booked out.
Right.
And a lot of people that book once are continuing. Like, they continue to, I see reoccurring a lot.
Right. Yeah.
So
awesome. So Jenny, thanks.
We're done.
Well, first of all, thanks for being a guest.
Yes, I know.
But also now, thanks, because we're gonna partner. We're gonna talk, and again, we encourage you, you guys that are listening out there, subscribe to our podcast. Tell your friends about it. We think it's gonna be really fun and enjoyable as we continue to figure out what God's doing and get to know more people and figure out how to take what the Bible says or Scripture and apply it to real life and understand how to be a follower of Jesus Christ and figure out how we can put those stories into practice in our life. So thanks not only for being
welcome.
a guest, and thank you for now this partnership. Thanks to our producers, who are our producers who are now going to get us music, theme songs, like all the stuff that's coming out. And so make sure that, again, you tell your friends about our podcast. But thanks everybody for being a part of the roundtable, and we'll look forward to you guys tuning back in next week.
Yep.